perfect day at Fenway Park, Mego, weather-wise, aesthetic-wise, and it ended up being an entertaining game. Red Sox hang 5 runs on the board in the first inning. You're thinking, hey, this could be one of those 12-2 type games or 11-1, and instead, we're sitting here with a 13-9 final, tying run in the mix in the 9th inning. I thought it was an entertaining game.
We're like, this was not in the cards when I was watching in the first inning.
No, and how about the Red Sox offensive explosion? We're talking 24 runs over the past 3 games, including 13 today. Don't look now. Rafael Devers, 5 hits in his last 3 games, had a couple walks today as well. Looks like hopefully he's back on track. I know we got some concerns with the pitching outside of people named Garrett Crochet, but the defense looks markedly better from last year, those couple errors in the night notwithstanding, and their offense looks like a juggernaut over the last 4 games or so.
I would say that so long as it's 65 degrees and sunny on opening day at Fenway Park, the offense should look like this.
Fair.
You know, like there's perfect conditions for them to have the start to the game that they had. I don't want to take that away from them. Awesome back-to-back homers. Like everything that you're seeing from Willie Abreu right now is unbelievable. I don't think anybody had that in the cards for the start of this season. The pitching cannot be ignored. And by the way, we will talk to Chris Cotillo of Mass Live in about 25 minutes or so, around 6:30. So he was obviously covering opening day, and he'll give us his perspective on what he heard from Garrett Crochet, who spoke to the media before the game, and everything else around opening day. But Walker Buehler was a little bit of a problem today. And as you said, like you can praise the offense all you want, and they won the game for you, but the pitching is a concern. Walker Buehler is a concern. It's through 2 games, so this is obviously very lopsided, but his ERA is 8.68. It's not what you're looking for from that guy.
And I think the ripple effect of it, too, is something we have to remember, because Crochet goes 8 innings the other night, but other than that, Red Sox starters have had a lot of trouble getting deep into ball games. Even Crochet himself on opening day, right? They've had a lot of trouble getting deep into ball games. It's an issue they had last year. They had the 10th most innings pitched by their bullpen last year. So far, through 8 games, they've already thrown 30 innings in their bullpen. So, again, it's only 8 games, but that's the type of stuff that added up on them last year. They ended up with the 24th ranked ERA in their bullpen last year. And I think their bullpen, you add Chapman, Whitlock is back. You feel better about the talent level, but still, 30 innings in 8 games is a lot for your bullpen, and that's something that, again, Crochet gives you 8. You want to see that followed up with other guys who can give you 6 or 7. And so far, you really, outside of that one start, you really haven't got that.
Yeah, it's kind of odd because you saw them push Crochet in so many innings.
I thought Crochet was going to come out after the 7th, and they brought him out for the 8th.
It's exactly, and I think it's just such a disparity right now in where your pitching is, and you're waiting on Bayo and you're waiting on Giolito to return off the IL and be able to contribute to your club at the major league level. But I don't think anybody really saw Buehler having this start to the season. The same way, as you said, Rafael Devers. Nobody saw him going for as long as he did.
Yeah.
But now it at least looks like that's somewhat behind him.
Yeah, and I think it feels like what we came into the season saying, like the Red Sox offense is going to be really good, but we had some questions about the rotation, right? Mm-hmm. Crochet only threw 146 innings last year. Buehler looked pretty good in the playoffs, obviously ended the World Series, but he had an ERA around 5 most of the season. Tanner Houck was inconsistent last year. In May, he looked like a Cy Young contender and then kind of fell off after that. Obviously, Bayo has the injury. And so far, I think in the lineup, outside of Devers, you've seen high-level play for most of the season. Couple games in Texas where they couldn't get the big hit. Now Devers looks back on track, but with the rotation, you're still waiting for that other guy. Like Crochet signs the extension, looks like the ace, has the press conference today, which we're going to get to with Chris Cotillo later. But you're looking, who's that next guy? Is it going to be Houck, who right now is slotted as their second guy? Is it going to be Buehler? Do we have to wait for a Bayo to come up? Is it going to be Sean Newcomb from Brockton, Mass, by the way, in that 5th starter? Like, they're still looking for that, I feel like, second guy to pair with Crochet to go deeper in ballgame and get them some quality starts.
I think if we want to look on the bright side of a win, and now the Red Sox sit at 4-4, Alex Bregman fit right in his opener in his debut at Fenway Park. I had 2 hits on the day, and just looks like, I don't know why he has. Well. why he has outs in his deal right now, because he looks like he should be here for the next 6 years.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy who, when you looked at his career average at Fenway Park, he was in the Ted Williams neighborhood when they signed him. I remember we all talked, I think, what was it, 375 or whatever it was when they signed him. And we've seen that, and it felt like that home run he had against the Orioles the other day was a big deal for him, because he came in as this guy that was going to be, if you will, I don't want to say the replacement for Tyler O'Neill in the lineup, hopefully an upgrade, but O'Neill's guy.
So far, Wilyer Abreu's the replacement for Tyler O'Neill when it comes to these homers.
No kidding, right? And Tyler O'Neill, again, 31 homers last year. You're hoping Bregman could at least give you something in that neighborhood, and the power hadn't been there early in the year. He gets that home run. Now today he's swinging the bat really well. And of course, you mentioned, Abreu, don't look now, #1 in the majors in batting average. I would expect that to continue, but
Very small sample size, but we can only look at what we have so far.
Yeah, what are we, almost 1/16 of the way into the season, right?
Go on.
But I think Abreu's, he wins the Gold Glove last year. For long stretches of last year, he was good at the plate. I think it was in September, he hit like 190 or 200, really tailed off.
You're saying Bregman?
Sorry, Abreu. Really tailed off, and now he started the season on fire, and as you said, pairing that with a Bregman who looks like he's now discovered that power, if you will, and his greatness at Fenway. This, again, not going to be 13 runs every day, but I think we're going to be in for one of the best lineups potentially in baseball.
Absolutely. As you said before, I don't think anybody was really concerned about the offense from the Red Sox this year. One place that we had questions, especially with everything that was surrounding Devers and Bregman going into the season in spring training, was what the defense would look like. And you got to see a little bit from Bregman. You got to see a moment from Trevor Story, which is so easy to forget about how he was brought here. How he was brought here essentially to replace Xander Bogaerts, and Xander Bogaerts helped recruit the guy without really knowing that he was going to take his position, and that Xander Bogaerts would be left to walk out of the Red Sox. But he's been injured for the last 2 seasons, so it's really easy for us to forget about who he can be defensively.
And I think when we've seen him,
pretty much why he's here.
Right, and when we've seen him play defensively, we've seen a marked upgrade, right? And Lou Merloni also talked about today on the TV broadcast that one of the biggest improvements he's seen from the beginning of spring to now is that up-the-middle defense, specifically second base with Christian Campbell. And I know he had a couple issues late in the game today, but we've seen their middle up the catcher to the middle infield, to obviously Duran and center, Rafaela, whoever they decide to put out there on a day-by-day basis. We have seen a significant improvement over the last 12 months in their defense up the middle. And I think the Bregman piece of this, right? Because what was the biggest controversy in the spring? Right?
Devers Bregman.
Exactly. And I think today, and we obviously knew all along Bregman was the better defensive player, guy Gold Glover for a reason. But I think today you saw a crystal clear example of that in the third inning, right? Buehler gives up leadoff walk, then a single, RBI single. There's nobody out. Bregman steps on third, throws to first for that huge double play. They end up getting out of the inning. And I know the Cardinals scored, 9 runs in the long, so it doesn't feel like a big deal in the long run. But if that inning had gotten out of hand, maybe this game turns out a little bit differently. And I sat there thinking, man, does Devers make that play?
No.
But there you go, right? Like, so even though, the Cardinals scored 9 runs, it was a 13-9 game. But if Bregman doesn't turn that quick double play in the third where Buehler was having trouble, again, maybe we're just looking at a totally different game, and maybe one that the Red Sox don't win.
Yeah, I like Devers where he is now.
Me too.
He's 5 for 11 with 1 strikeout in the last 3 games, including today. So he looks like he's found himself again, maybe regained his confidence. He's leaning into that designated hitter role that he's literally physically built for. And we'll see a little bit more of this Devers as the series continues to roll on. We were just saying, don't know what it's going to be tomorrow, because it looks like the weather is going to be one of these raw, awful, it's almost 40 degrees and raining and just horrible days. So don't know if we're going to get that game tomorrow. If not, it'll probably be a doubleheader on Sunday. But hopefully they can get their second series win back to back